right, what's poppin', everyone? My name's Ajwritescrypto. Thanks for tuning in today, Monday, July 21st. Man, oh man, how the summer has become slowly over time an amazing summer of crypto. We just had three major bills passed last week, and alts are finally starting to see the light of day. I mean, really, it's so funny. I've been getting some of the should I sell DMs already. And when you look at the previous high and you look at now and you realize, okay, well, we just broke out. I don't really know if it's time to sell yet. In fact, I think it's time to keep going. Am I saying there's not going to be a retest? I mean, no one can see the future. I'm not going to pretend that I do. And would it make sense to see some form of retest between now and when the real projected pump is supposed to happen Q3, Q4 this year? We've been saying October, November 2025 since the beginning of, the price prediction department 3 years ago. So, it's been one of those deals where, I feel that even if you're incorrect buying right now, if you're results oriented on the next 2 weeks, or you're likely to be correct buying right now if you're results oriented in the next 4 or 5 months. So I think keeping that perspective is extremely important in terms of, are you lowering or heightening your average buy price? And I think that should always be the focus, to lower your average buy price on your portfolio whenever you can. Ultimately, we have a lot to look at today. There's a lot of news with Ethereum, and Ethereum, it's kind of been across the board a home base for altcoins. We kind of always have that old school chart saying Bitcoin first, large cap alt, small cap alt, and Bitcoin first. That's undeniable. And now Ethereum is following, large caps alt, XRP hitting all-time highs. There's an article today, 99.6% of XRP traders are in profit, which is just an insane statistic. And I still feel that the small cap alts haven't really seen their day in the sun yet. And it's interesting because if you go back and look at the duration of time it has taken for when we've had the runs, like the December run, really from that low in November to the top in December, was basically 28 to 30 days. 28 to 38. Well, this pump's already been 30 days, 29 days. So in terms of a timeline from what we've seen in the new pattern of altcoins, time should be up in terms of, is it retest time yet? Question mark. But you have to understand that, is this the beginning of a multi-month push, or is this more of the same? Where more of the same has been ever since the bear market. We came down in 2022, and since then we've had a series of like 300% pump, give it back, 300% pump, give it back, another pump. Are we going to give it back? So, and generally those pumps take 30 days, and that timeline is now. So I'm starting to stretch the back of my head thinking, well, that can't be it, because we're not even close to where we are with the December high. And that's really using, my baseline logic is that if we see a real alt run, and I think that's the determining sentence right there, is because we have not seen a real alt run since 2021. Have we seen these baby runs that are nice? Algorand pumped basically 490 some percent from the low in November to the high in December. That's pretty solid. But in terms of, have we seen a proper altcoin bull run? We have not seen a proper altcoin bull run since 2021. We've had baby runs in between, and that has become the new meta. But now we're trying to differentiate, is this run right here the beginning of a real run, or is this another baby run until another retest, until we wake up at the end of the year again? And I would like to say no. I'm leaning towards no. Why? One, we know that the altcoin ETFs on the horizon, where I think there's like 7 or 8 of them, like HBAR, Litecoin, I believe Arbitrum, Pengu's even on the list. A lot of coins that they are viewed as commodities. They have a 90% approval rating, and most of those deadlines are, around the end of the year. And you got to think to yourself, okay, well, if this altcoin and this altcoin and this altcoin are all getting ETFs, there would probably be a pump before that, right? You know, wouldn't it be a buy the news, a buy the rumor, sell the news type situation? I would think so. But then it's also once it gets valued in, and then once we see the inflows is when we see the real pickup. And how do I know this? Look at what Ethereum's doing right now. I'm about to show you 4 articles back to back to back to back about how Ethereum ETF inflows are at all-time highs. And look at what it's done to the price of Ethereum. And I also today, I want to look at the total chart. I want to look at the total chart because really right now, crypto is bigger than it's ever been in terms of the total chart. But now we had the total chart we had back in 2021 with shit regulation, with Gary Gensler in charge. What are we going to do now with altcoin ETFs, with positive, regulation, with an administration that wants to push innovation over the Gary Gensler form of regulation by enforcement? So I think the innovation first mindset is going to be a determining factor of what takes us from the $4 trillion industry to the $40 trillion industry. And I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight. It's going to happen slowly over time. But I am a firm believer of the fact that, okay, we did 4 trillion back in 21 with nothing for regulation, the wild west of crypto. If we did that then, what can we do now? And I start thinking, I've always said before 10 to 12 trillion, but now I'm thinking bigger, thinking 20, 30, 40, and just a matter of how long is it going to take. So I got a bunch to go over. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody here on YouTube. Let's get a quick little pulse here. We're picking up on YouTube. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, smash the likes early in the show to get us running in the algorithm. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Crypto Princess, Bernard Donaldson, watching from Manchester, UK. Hey, man, thanks for being here. It's super cool of you. Mike J, do you feel this bull something? Okay, he deleted the message. Great. Armand Clark, your owner, Karen Harris, Mike J, Trippier Crypto, T-Net, everybody pushing P, Crypto Thorn, everybody in the house. Ken Rosher, thank you all for being here. You guys rock. We got a lot to talk about today, but first, we got to do a quick little tap in on Polymarket. We had an episode of No Sweat Bets come out last week, and guys, I am glad I made that video based off of this. This is the screen that I left up. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. At the time of the show, you could buy Max Holloway shares for 34 cents. And now let's finally click refresh on here, and you will see that Holloway is the result. We did correctly call the main event for UFC 318. Basically a double up for anyone who got involved and caught that on No Sweat Bets. That was a hell of a weekend. We did do a tweet. I think I have it on the other side of my right here. I said, if Max Holloway beats Poirier tonight to keep his BMF title, someone who likes this post will get $250 in crypto. And also be sure to, I'll talk about the Tesla giveaway here in a little bit. But guys, we did win this, and we are going to do this giveaway at the end of the show. So if you did not smash the likes on this tweet here, that's very close to the top over on my page on X at Ajwritescrypto, someone watching this show right now might be able to go like that tweet and steal that $250, which I'm giving away at the end of the show. I did lock a $4,500 win on Saturday night. Not a bad night just for hanging out with the baby, watching the fights with Jada, making $4,500. I mean, it's kind of hard to beat that. So super proud of that result. Also, very quickly, the Web3 Influencer Awards are back. I have been nominated in 2 categories, which is, I believe, Best Variety Channel and Influencer of the Year. And I did win the Golden Upvote last year. The Golden Upvote is when you literally type the person's name into, it's not like a lot of the Best Variety Channel, Best Technical Analysis, Best this, Best that. You like kind of click the name of who you want. But Golden Upvote is when you type the name in. And last year, for Best New Channel, I lost to Ben by 10, but then for Golden Upvote, I beat Ben by 10. And that is actually why I have this belt here behind me right there. And it was a super big deal to win the Golden Upvote, which is the most prestigious Web3 award within 2 months of having a YouTube channel, I won golden upvote, which is just bonkers insane. So guys, it would mean the world to me. Go over and vote for the Web3 Influencers Awards. If you don't vote for me, that's okay. Just vote for who you think is best. And if it's me, hell yeah. If it's somebody else, vote for them. At the end of the day, just go vote, because this stuff is, might not be a big deal to some people, but it does look good for optics, and it's cool. Kind of, adds a legitimate thing to kind of to go after for the influencers. And that the competitive ones among us, this really does matter. So definitely, I don't care if you vote for me or not, just go vote for someone, and if it's me, that's awesome. So definitely that will be during Rare Evo, beginning of August in Las Vegas. I'm speaking at that conference on a panel with Mark, the CMO of Algorand, and really looking forward to speaking at Rare Evo, and really looking forward to see who wins the influencer awards at Rare Evo. And also, very quickly, where's that other tweet at here? I'll pull it. Let me pull it from here really quick. I'm really excited for Rare Evo for a couple reasons. It's probably going to be the best conference of the year, in my opinion. But right here, the poker August 10th, brought to you by Midnight, stream from the Poker Go Studio, which is a big deal. Poker Go Studio streams the World Series of Poker main event final table, and Jada made the graphic here for the Rare Evo Poker Classic. And you might think to yourself, why is AJ's fiance Jada the graphic here for the Rare Evo Poker competition? Well, last year Jada ran it deep in that tournament. I think that she got 16th and I got 12th, like deep run. And ultimately we left early. I kind of busted out on purpose because we spent $1,400 on tickets to see the Killers with Big Pay. And I was like, hey man, like, I really got to make a lot of money to miss the Killers. And then I realized that, like, hey, you got to double up or get out of here. And we made it. We literally walked in the door right as the Killers started playing their first song. So, hey, it was a fair trade. It was a good time. But this time we have no obligations. That night, we're going to take it super seriously. And hey, I'll see you on the felt at Rare Evo if you're coming down. So really excited for that as well. All right, so let's start getting into the meat and potatoes of the show. Diamond Diva asking AJ, thoughts on SEI? I think SEI is one of those alts that's going to be a right down the middle type altcoin. I don't think it's like, I got my mat's kind of messed up here. I lost my mouse. 1 second. All right, so SEI is one of those alts that I think it's going to be a right down the middle alt. Like, I don't think that it's going to be a top 3 or even top 5, probably not top 10 performer as in measure from right now to the projected top. But do I think it's going to be on the green side of the top 50? Probably. I would probably see it being, like a 30 to 50 type performer. I don't think it's like anything special, but I also don't hate it. I know it's respectable. I know a lot of people are bullish on it. But it's not like doing anything in my eyes that really separates it from the crowd. But I know it's going to be respectable. And I know it also had a pretty big pump over the weekend. I did put SEI on my list. We'll do technical analysis on SEI at some point during this show. What is your current stance on the graph? I'm pretty sure I answer this question every time I do a live stream. My stance on the graph is that I am not as bullish on it now as I was before. But there's a caveat there. Am I selling the graph I bought before? No. I'm holding on to the graph I bought before. I'm actually very close to being in profit from all of the graph I bought before. And I think at the time, the narrative for the graph was so strong. It was a really heavy narrative coin, the Google of Web3 and kind of what it does. It's if you think of like aggregation of like querying on a blockchain, the job that the graph does. If you think like, if you wanted to go to the library and figure out everything on turtles, right? So you could systematically go to the library and systematically pull each book from the Dewey Decimal System and flip to the page and read on about turtles. But think about how long that would take to go through every book at the library. Where if you think the library is the blockchain and the graph queries the blockchain almost immediately to give you any information you're looking for, whether it's turtles or volume or whatever. And that functionality is insane, that and how good of a job the graph does. And in terms of, there's a difference between price action and the graph as a project that has real utility, because the querying data for the graph has only gone up. It's only been utilized more over time. It's not like the use case has fallen off or there's less people using it. That's not true. There's actually more people using it now than there was before. It just hasn't correlated because the price hasn't done what people thought it could do. And so I'm kind of stuck where I'm saying, hey, like what this coin does is good. And it's only been doing more of it since I started talking about it literally years ago. But just because that hasn't, fully got across and increase price, are we talking, is it cool for what it does, or do we only care about coins if price go up? So I see the frustration, but am I selling it? Am I getting out of it to buy something else? No, I'm not. I'm holding the graph I have. I'm just not buying more. And if it does end up being a performer, I feel like if we were talking about SEI, I think SEI is going to be a right down the middle coin that'll be out of the top 50. It'll be on the green side of the top 50, where the graph I think is likely to be on the red side of the top 50 unless something drastic, some news, some major shift happens. The problem with GRT is their marketing. Like there is no GRT army. There is no graph nation where you think, look at the coins that separated themselves from the pack, the Algo fam, the Cardano community, Ada Gang, the XRP army, the H Barbarians, all of the projects that have that, the VFam, that have that die-hard community. The graph does not have that. And there's a couple coins that just do not have that aspect. Like the Buccaneers, like shouldn't Near have a real community, but they kind of don't. Quant, no marketing at all. In fact, they left Twitter and realized, oh, that was a fucking terrible idea. And then they came back to Twitter with their head down and their tail between their legs. And that's why I've moved away from coins that don't care to grow their base. Like you need to have a vibrant, contagious community for your coin to take the next level. And if you're going to take the, oh, well, we have institutional buyers, that's all we need, like the people from Quant say, well, I don't give a shit about them anymore. I've moved on from Quant, similar to how I moved on from the graph, because they're not marketing to their core audience. And that, although they have a cool use case, although their use case is a great thing, they don't care enough to build a base. And if you're not going to build a base, that's going to translate in price action if people are not excited. It's that simple. John Allen Woods from Algorand him and I have talked about this 100,000 times. And crypto use case matters. We don't just want vaporware. The era of vaporware is ending. But at the same time, it has to be probably, he said, I think it's 60% hype and 40% use case. And I said, I have to disagree. I think it's 80% hype and 20% use case, because the use case has to be so good that people get really hyped up about it, because that's really what's going to do. Look at the Pudgy Penguins, man. Look at the motherfucking Pudgy Penguins. I got to give it to them. I'm a Bored Ape holder. As you can see, I don't hold Pudgy Penguins. Do I kick myself for not buying one? I'm not going to get into that, but I've done very well with my apes. So I'm fine with it. But like, look at what they've done. And what they did was take a cute little penguin and they get it at Walmart for stuffed animals, and little kids have Pudgy Penguins in their cribs and they know nothing about NFTs, but the brand awareness, the hype is better than what most crypto projects are doing. And Pudgy Penguins, that floor has gone up by like what, 80% in 2 weeks or something. The Pudgy Penguins actually have this story pulled up. I'll go to this story now since I'm already on the topic. Really quickly, I gotta find it. I have so many tabs open right now. It's actually getting pretty insane. I know it's in my main. Hold on one second. This is actually driving me crazy. Ethereum, Doge, stablecoins. There it is right here. I found it. Sorry about that. So right here, NFT market surges past 6 billion as blue chip collections lead the rally. So when you talk about hype. I mean, all NFTs, the NFTs that matter, the NFTs that are the blue chip NFTs, do not have this mind-blowing crypto centric functionality. What it is access to a community. It's access to a Discord server and to a community of people, like going to Ape Fest to meet all the people that are in the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I'm doing that in October. That's what that is. It's generally hype. It's basically hype. And that is not dead. In fact, it came past 6 billion, and the blue chips are the ones that matter. And if you come over here and look at OpenSea, look at CryptoPunks up 16%, Pudgy Penguins up 10%, Bored Ape Yacht Club up 14%. Bored Ape Yacht Club was around 10 Ethereum when I got in. The floor was 10 Ethereum. Now the floor is 12.5 Ethereum. But if you can also consider how much the Bored Ape Yacht Club has increased in price because Ethereum has pumped. Right now, it costs $47,000 to become a member of the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I bought my second ape for $23,000, and I currently have active offers for my second ape, the hip hop shirt one, for I think 47.6, more than double what I bought it for if we're looking at cash, not Ethereum. Might sell it. Might say, hey, I'll take 50 grand. That's cool with me. I'm all for taking 50 grand off the table. But like, that doesn't happen without the hype, man. Like, people, let's just accept at face value that people have to get excited for projects to really move. And Bored Ape Yacht Club is one of the most respectable NFTs across the board. But at the same time, it got outpaced by the Pudgy Penguins. Why? Because the Pudgy Penguins kicked the entire industry in its fucking teeth with marketing. That's the game. Quant, not doing that. The Graph, not doing that. So many projects I can list that lack an even remote fucking attempt to market themselves. Where you see a project like this, you don't beat the Bored Ape Yacht Club without doing some serious marketing. And I'm obsessed with marketing. You ever watch the show Mad Men with Donald Draper? I watched that show when I was probably like 13 or 14, and then went back and watched it again as an adult. And like, so sure, it's kind of like a soap opera kind of drama, but the main, what encompasses around that show is the idea of marketing and how simple yet effective and how complicated it is. So I think learning how to build a brand is equally important as having a blockchain that matters, that does something. And yeah, the game of the days of vaporware are over. Yeah, John is now has left Algorand, but I still think he's in the process of handing his position over. I'm not going to get into that. John's a personal friend of mine. I don't know what his next move is, but we did literally talk on the phone yesterday because he had a daughter and I have a daughter, and we're both new fathers. John has had kids before, but he has another one as well. So my friendship with John has very little to do with the next move for him in crypto, and I'm gonna leave that alone for now. But very, very great guy. B3 still bullish, Bitcoin Henry. So B3 was a coin that I found because I was really people always ask me, hey, AJ, give me a pick outside of the top 500. Give me a pick outside of the top 300. And every time, people ask me that question, and trust me, I look outside the top 100 more than people think I do. Like way more than people think I do. But I don't talk about it much because you really gotta be right. You gotta be right. And anytime you go outside of that initial box, you got to be well aware, hey, this might not work. And B3 was like a main gaming push on Base, and everything Base is doing is on with optimism, and every project involved with that. It felt like, hey, if gaming is going to come back, why not B3? And honestly, it has gone down since I've talked about it, but it also has recovered a little bit. Do I think it's over? Do I think it's dead? I don't think so. Do I think my timing was off? Yeah. But am I saying it's over? No. So yeah, but you're not going to be right every time you go outside of the top 500. But it's a scary thing to do as a crypto influencer, because sometimes people will tell you new one if you're wrong. And honestly, obviously, I've been right way more than I've been wrong. But I'm also not going to stand here and pretend I've been right about everything. Most crypto influencers try to do that, and they look fucking dumb when they do it. Just own the times you were wrong. That's okay, man. Like, as long as it's really not, and this is similar to playing blackjack, or playing poker or any risk-based activity. It's not about any one hand. It's not about any shoe of blackjack. It's about a pattern of decision-making skills over time. And over time, clearly, I've been right way more than I've been wrong. So I can go with that. I'm not going to answer the peanut question because that's not really a chart I've looked at in a while. But I will talk about Avalanche. I'm not going to do an Avalanche price prediction, but I will look at the AVAX chart because I have a nice bag of Avalanche and I need to revisit that chart. It's been a little while. And SWE as well. Okay, I got SEI, SWE, and AVAX. I'll run with those three for now, and I'll circle back later. But first, I want to kind of get through some more of what I had planned for today's show. Obviously, right before I do that, like I said, guys, go vote for the Web3 Influencer Awards towards the top of my Twitter page. Really looking forward to all of that in Rare Evo. Also, my Tesla giveaway is live, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching this and you have not signed up for the Tesla giveaway, get your ass in this giveaway. We're giving away $42,490 or a brand new Tesla Model 3. You can opt to accept the value of the vehicle in crypto if you choose, or you can drive away and end your summer in a brand new car. But we're also giving away $100 in VeChain to 15 people, and 10 people win exclusive VeChain merch packs with merch you cannot buy anywhere. Excuse me, you can't buy anywhere else. You can only get this merch from this giveaway. So this is a really big deal. Obviously, I go just click on the sweep widget here. If it doesn't work, try a different browser, turn off your VPN, use your phone, use a different computer. Only 2% of people can't get this to work. But for some reason, the people that can't get it to work get really upset when just like, hey man, just try a different browser. Like, you'll be okay. Sweep widget is a solid platform that to do giveaways like this. So we stuck with it. But yeah, get in that giveaway. It's a really good one. All right, and of course, like I said, we are going to pick a $250 winner because of the Max Holloway win that we booked over the weekend. And someone who likes that tweet is going to get $250. And I'm not pulling this giveaway until the end of the show. So go like that tweet. Maybe you guys can snipe that $200. All right, so we talked about how NFT surges past 2 billion as blue chip collections lead the rally. I think this is going to continue. I honestly have thought about selling my second Bored Ape for more than double what I bought it for, but honestly, I think they're going to keep going. I do. I don't think the NFT push is over. People still want CryptoPunks. People obviously want Pudgy Penguins, and the Bored Ape Yacht Club isn't going anywhere. Believe me on that. And the other side is coming out. They've talked about it. This year we're going to learn more by Ape Fest. I'll tell you that. And other side, if you followed the floor for other side deeds with codas, I'm glad I bought my coda when I did, bro, because that floor has been ripping since everyone knows other side is coming. So hey, pay attention to that. Do I have a chance to win the Twitter giveaway if I have a couple Twitter followers? Yeah, as long as you follow my page and have tweeted at least once in the past month, you can win. All right, so let's keep it rolling here. MicroStrategy buys 740 million in Bitcoin. This is, dude, they are still. It's so important to point out that people are still whaling into Bitcoin at these prices. They bought $740 million in Bitcoin now. That's insane. That's insane. Trump Media Bitcoin stash hits 2 billion. They're not selling. Wonder why. And BitGo files for IPO and more. And dude, you really have to. I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I just want to say, when you look at Crypto Panic is the news aggregator that everyone uses. It should be at the homepage of your computer. And I'll literally show you. All right, I'll show you on my computer. Crypto panic right here. So boom. All right. So, oh, not that button, this button. And right here, instead of going from news site to news site to news site, you can see every news site on the left as it happens. Coinbase finally debuts perpetual futures for the first time, left out XRP and Solana. Judge allows testimony on feasible tornado cash code changes. Like literally, this website is just all day long aggregating all of the crypto news from the news today. It's one of the most powerful tools that you can use to learn more about what's happening now. The reason I make that point is because a lot of the stories I'm seeing are MicroStrategy buys more Bitcoin, BlackRock buys more Ethereum, this treasury fund is buying more of this, these whales are buying more of this altcoin, and this guy just bought. People are buying now at these elevated prices. And do you think these like hedge funds, multi-billion-dollar hedge funds, are aping this kind of money into Bitcoin, into Ethereum at basically in what's interpreted as local highs just to like scalp the market? Like, do you think Michael Saylor bought what was the damn number again? How many millions of dollars of Bitcoin did this do? $700 million in Bitcoin. Do you think he did that just to scalp 3%? No, they are doing this for the real gains. And you have to tell yourself, if you're worried about buying now, understand that people are putting like billions of dollars on the line here. Why is that? Why is that? Read between the lines, everybody. It's very, very early in the game. I did mention this story earlier. 99% of XRP holders are in profit. Definitely check out this story on thestreet.com and listen to this little bit here from Scott Melker. Melker is a good friend of mine, the Wolf of All Streets. We have a call at some point this week. We're going to catch up. Really, really good dude. And dude is insanely smart. And if you don't follow him, go give him a follow. He's like one of those people that I like really look up to, that I'm like glad to be friends with, that is a wealth of knowledge. And they kind of go into, here basically talking about how XRP, over 99% of XRP holders are in profit. That's bonkers, guys. And obviously, if XRP is at all-time highs, that's like kind of obvious, but just to say that out loud, damn, that feels so good. And I do want to take a quick peek over at the XRP chart. And before I get into talking about XRP too much, I do want to circle back to something I said on No Sweat Bets when I made my last video, I believe on Friday, because we were talking about what price will XRP hit in July. All right. And we were kind of leaning towards, will it hit 3.7? And that would require XRP to basically put in a higher high than what it has now. That is likely, but I was putting a firm no on $4. And at the time, the no was betting for 56.9. Let's see if the shares have increased since then. Okay, so 56.9, still at the same spot for $4, but it is pretty confident. 81% of people are saying yes, that XRP will hit 3.7 in July. And guys, July is winding down. There are 7, 8, 9, 10 days left in July. So basically 81% of this volume is saying that XRP is going to 3.7 in the next 10 days. And let's look at that. Let's look at that idea, because here is 310. And I left this here because this is where I told my Telegram group and one of the live streams to go long before it crossed 310. This was where I was like, hey guys, that's my long alarm, follow me. And look at what happened from then. Boom, we're talking 17% in 20 hours. Since then has had a little bit of a retest, and XRP has started. So you could look at this two ways. You could look at this as the flat range across the board. And you could also look at this as in, oops, did not mean to do that. You could also look at this as in the slight uptrend XRP has been forming since that point in time. All right, so we want to do the trend line yellow and support resistance lines white. All right, and since then, XRP has not been able to get above this previous high right here. So we are kind of forming an ascending triangle from the low to the higher low into here. So at some point, XRP is going to be forced to break down or break up and out of this ascending triangle that it's forming. Also, it's important to highlight that this low right here is kind of like a no-no alarm for XRP, where if this alarm goes off, that would be curvature to the downside, like officially, because yeah, it can plant its feet and fight under this line all day long. But the second it comes down this way, when like you kind of start having problems and you have to start considering going scalp short or whatever. So and that alarm, so you guys know, is 3.348. I'll type it, 3.348. So that would be a little bit worried alarm for XRP. Also, this local high here, we kind of hit it once, we bounced off it once, 3.665. I will make this one a little bit bigger because it's a lot more important of an alarm. Because once that alarm goes off, we are in discovery. So, I'm okay with, if we have confluence, we're above the 50, we're pushing RSIs on Market Cipher, we're in the green on Market Cipher. You could obviously make a case, just like we did back here at 310, to go long into continuation. But what we're saying on Polymarket is that 82% of people are saying yes to 370. That would be right here. This second here, I'll make this line blue. So this new blue line right here, that is where 82% of people think that XRP is going to go in the next 10 days. But the implication here is actually a really big deal, because XRP has to break its all-time high to get to this level. I know it doesn't seem like much, and I'm not saying it's impossible either. It's only 3.8%. It's probably pretty likely. But the fact is that that's a scary bet to make, especially for 82. I mean, you have to understand what I'm saying here is that I'm not willing to bet 82 cents. So if you bet $100 on here, you'd only get $123 back. That's not worth that bet. I'm not exposing, to put this in perspective, if I exposed $1,000, I'd only win 200. That's not good pot odds, if the poker players out there know what I mean. So to cycle back to this, I'm staying away from the 3.7 bet. All right. But if we're talking about the $4 bet, now kind of different XRP chart, same concept, the line's already there. Here is the $4 XRP. That would be the target from where we are now. Okay. And to pull that in the next 10 days, I'm going to say no. I'm not saying XRP can't go to $4. I'm willing to bet money that XRP will not hit $4 in the next 10 days. That's my bet. Right or wrong, that's my bet. And if I bet $1,000 for no, that would be a $757 win. If you bet $10,000, you get $6,500 back, because a $10,000 bet would increase the total volume of the pool. So maybe you could find a middle ground bet that doesn't move it too much, 5,000 to win 87, or 6,500 to win 11.1. That's not bad. Yeah, maybe something down that street. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But no, I'm going to have to lean towards no. I do not think XRP is going to $4 in the next 10 days. That's a different concept than how high can XRP go? When and where is the top, et cetera, et cetera. It's a different conversation. But that blue line there would be $4. I'm going to say that's not happening in the next 10 days. In terms of a lot of people are stuck on XRP. And people get me wrong, I'm not bearish on XRP. I bought a bunch of XRP at 30 cents. And I made some fucking money on XRP. Like, let's go. Praise the pump gods. All right. But at the same time, you got to understand that if you buy something at 30 cents or even 60 cents and it goes to $3.57, I'm not really trying to buy more of it. In fact, I have not bought more of it. My last XRP buy was at $2. $2. Don't chase the coins that already exploded. Why? Okay, because XRP is at 357. That means that if XRP went to $7, that still would not be a double up from here. Let that simmer. Let that simmer. If XRP goes to $7, you did not double your money from here. And think about how much money has to go into XRP for it to go to $7. All right, let's do it. We're doing this. All right. I'll just use, pull a new tab. All right, the coin perspective. All right. Blah, 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 blah. I know you guys can't see it yet. 1 second. All right. So let's pull this up. This is my favorite place to do moon math, thecoinperspective.com. All right. So XRP currently has, I'm not going to get into XRP tokenomics. They use an escrow system, and there's an arbitrary amount that goes back into another escrow. They're not even 60% of the way there with tokenomics yet. All right. 40% of the XRP supply still eventually has to come into play. That's all that matters. It's going to happen slowly over time. Don't worry about that. And right now, we're talking a market cap of $211.3 billion with a B. If my target for XRP was $7, that would only be a 96% win. I'm not, risking any significant amount of money to wait around for XRP's market cap to go to $414 billion just to make 96%. Absolutely fucking no. That is insanity. That is crazy thinking. And XRP might not even go to $7, guys. I've been saying 3 to 5 since it was 30, 60 cents. All right. And it's in between 3 and 5 now. So we were right about that back then. And if it continues further, okay, that's okay. But like, I'm not waiting for a $400 billion market cap to barely double my money. That's crazy. That's not okay. Why do I feel this way? Let's go to CoinGecko. So Ethereum, $455 billion. So Ethereum, to double its money, basically has to go to a $1 trillion market cap. Not saying that's impossible. I'm just saying that's a lot of money. Whereas, all right, so XRP has to go to 422, all right, to double your money. So let's just scroll down the list here on CoinGecko. Okay, here we are. Algorand, 55 by market cap. Arbitrum, 56. VeChain, 57. These 3 coins right here, Algorand, Arbitrum, VeChain. Yo, I have a lot of Algorand. I have a lot of Arbitrum. And I have a lot of VeChain. And why is that? Because they're 3 rock solid projects. And why is that again? Their market cap. Algorand, 2.5 billion. Arbitrum, 2.5 billion. VeChain, 2.4 billion. So you can wait around for XRP to add another $200 billion to its market cap. And if it did that, you would not even double up. It would be a 96% gain. And on the flip side of that coin, if Algorand, Arbitrum, or VeChain added 2.5 billion to its market cap, you do double your money. So what are you going to wait for? XRP's market cap to increase by 211 billion or Algorand's to increase by 2.5 billion? Do you see my mind is glitched? I'm glitching right now because there are some people that are like, yep, they're dead. They're dead coins. They're dead. Okay. Back in November, Algorand was a top 5 performer. It pumped 495% in 28 days. And in the past 28 days, it's pumped over 92% top to bottom. Dead coins don't do that. That's not a thing dead coins do. Similar to VeChain, had an insane pump and is pumping again now. Dead coins don't do that. Algorand has outperformed VeChain in terms of pump bottom to top so far. But as you can see on CoinGecko, they are very comparable coins, considering that they're basically next to each other, 2.5, 2.4, with Arbitrum in between. And these are 3 projects right here, Algorand, Arbitrum, VeChain. I would rather buy Algorand, Arbitrum, and VeChain than I would rather buy XRP, Solana, and Ethereum. Like, really, If we did a portfolio rate, so you bought $10,000 of each of those coins and had large caps, small caps, the small caps would win the race for sure, without a shadow of the doubt. Why? Because it takes a fraction of the money to go into the market cap to get a exponential multiple of the gains. So just like play the market cap game. And yes, in the beginning of the pumps, the large caps are going to outperform the small caps. That's why people get stuck. That is why people don't get it. But if you go back and measure the small caps, like the respectable top 100 caps between 40 and 100, they are more likely to outperform the gains of the loaded top 10 coins. But people don't think that because Bitcoin goes first and Bitcoin maxis can say what they want. You know, Ondo, Algorand, VeChain outperform Bitcoin in 28 days compared to what Bitcoin took 3 years to pump. So although Bitcoin's more stable, although Bitcoin didn't have a pump, give it back, have a pump, give it back, if you're measuring bottom to top, the altcoins outperform Bitcoin immensely. But people get distracted because the larger caps go first. Their pump happens before the Algorands and the VeChains of the world. But then when alt season happens, Ajwritescrypto's over here saying, hey, I told you so. I told you so. And guess what? I do that stupid little fucking dance every time, a couple times a year, as I make a couple $1 million every time I do the dance. Maybe because I'm right. That might have something and everything to do with it. So I'm not saying don't buy large caps. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if your goal is to have more X's in your portfolio, you need to scroll further down the list. It's that simple. It's that simple. And this is why I want to talk about Ethereum. And this is why I'll get to the super chats and all that in a minute. But this is why I want to talk about Ethereum, because Ethereum is doing well. And I kind of feel like my ape exposure is my Ethereum exposure because my apes have gone up because Ethereum has gone up. But I said this in my last live stream. I'll say it quickly right now. Bitcoin ETF was a test for crypto ETFs, period. And Bitcoin ETF made Wall Street a lot of money. So they said, hey, let's dip into this well again. And now the Ethereum ETF is making Wall Street a lot of money. And now you can see the rollout effect, the snowball effect of that is that all these different altcoins are about to get ETFs for the spot ETFs for the first time at the end of this year, 90% approval ratings, viewed as commodities, all that. So my point is that the Bitcoin test is the reason Ethereum is making so much money now. Because if you look at simply, to put this extremely basic terms, where's my article? Right here. Boom. Ethereum price breaks out as Genius Act triggers 1.8 billion of ETF inflows. Guys, I want to be very clear. The difference between this Ethereum pump and the 2021 Ethereum pump. Here's 2021. Here's now. Let's talk about this. We're looking at a 2-day. Here is the bull cross. Can you guys see that? Is my head in the way? Yeah, my head's in the way. 1 second. Right there. Right here on the 2-day chart was the bull cross right here for Ethereum on the 2-day chart back when it was trading for $250 back in June of 2020. June of 2020, Ethereum was $250 and it had its 2-day bull cross. And then, of course, Ethereum went on the run that it went on. Since then, we had a false alarm bull cross here, but it basically went flat. So I don't even really count that one because it didn't really cross. It went up to it and got rejected. And then the next bull cross happened right here. And from that point in time, October 23, 130% in 137 days. And then here is the most recent bull cross. So since 2020, Ethereum has had 2 proper bull crosses before this one. This is the 3rd bull cross on the 2-day chart in Ethereum's history. Why is this different? Why is this bull cross different? Because as you can see, this one happened back here, all the way back here, and then the pump happened for 1,000% in 500 days. All right. And then here's this bull cross right here, the last one. And then the pump happened after that. It's funny that a lot of the pump has happened and now we get the bull cross. Why? Because this wasn't institutions. Now the ETF door is accessible. Wall Street money has access to Ethereum like it has never had before in the history of Ethereum. Does that change things? Well, fuck yeah, it does, because now we're just getting the bull cross. As you can see, okay, well, this bull cross was, 500 days from the top. This bull cross was, 129 days from the top. So if we just throw that together and say, okay, well, let's just say 200 days from now, 250 days from now, March 26th, where's Ethereum going to be? Because we're just getting this down. And if you're telling me that here is the double top, Ethereum has been rejected across multiple years at this level right here. I'll put the alarm down at let's just call it 4,000. It's actually 4,084. Ethereum has been rejected at this level, not once, not twice. And you're telling me that we are getting the bull cross right here and we're not about to break through that motherfucker? Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. And it doesn't matter if it's one of these. It doesn't matter if it goes and tests the EMA and then goes. The point is that inevitably Ethereum is going to break this support resistance level. And once it does, it's off to the races to the previous all-time high, which is at, a little bit under 5,000. On some exchanges, it actually went a little bit above 5,000, but this one says 4,945 out of, just to be accurate. And that support resistance level we've been rejected at is 21% to the all-time high from where we've been rejected from at 4,084. And once it gets to here, that is when we can talk. The problem is, similar to XRP, its market cap is going to get in the way. For instance, if Ethereum went to 7,000, it would only be an 86% move from here. It would only be 86% from here if Ethereum went to 7,000. The thing is that it would also require an $845 billion market cap to get 86%. Whereas right now its market cap's 455. So do the math there. So what's more likely? Ethereum to increase by $200-300 billion? Or is Algorand and VeChain going to go from 2.5 billion to 5 billion? What's going to happen first? You see my point? I'm highlighting why XRP and Ethereum are so attractive. I'm highlighting that the institutional accessibility is paramount and at a level it's never been out before. And that's what it's going to take to add $100 billion, 200, 300, 400 billion dollars with a B to a market cap. That's what it's going to take. And as you can see, according to all of these articles here, that is what has begun to happen. We already, is record-breaking, unprecedented 2.12 billion weekly inflows. Well, guys, if 2.12 billion is unprecedented and it needs 300 billion to get an 86% gain, do you see the problem there? Do you see where it gets fuzzy? Because if $2 billion is unprecedented, but it needs to get to, what was the number again? It needs to get to 845 billion just to get us 86% from here. That's not what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what the groggers are doing. But at the same time, you have to say, hey, this is what's happening. And that runs downhill because the altcoins are going to get ETFs like it's never been before, because Wall Street's going to make that money and they're going to want to replicate that success just like they've done with Bitcoin. And once altcoins get them, all the altcoins are going to get them. You know why? Because once all the altcoins have ETFs, what's going to happen next? Baskets. 70% of stock market transactions are baskets. Crypto doesn't even have baskets yet. Just a thought. Just a thought. Shit's crazy, man. Shit's crazy. So much people are going to make so much money. And listen, if you're a person that has a couple $1 million and you want a safer, more stable bet, yeah, sure. Buy Ethereum, buy XRP, buy Bitcoin. I'm not saying that's bad. Not at all. I'm just highlighting how many hundreds of billions of dollars have to enter that market cap for you to make 80 to 90%. It's a lot of work. Whereas I'm talking specifically to the audience members who have less than $100,000 to their name. Specifically, the audience members less than $30,000 to their name. You guys are trying to become millionaires. Okay. Fucking get out of Ethereum. XRP ain't going to cut it. I wouldn't have said that back at 30 cents. The pump that I wanted to see at 30 cents happened already. Now we have to look at the coins where that has not happened yet. You are not going to become a millionaire if you have less than 30 grand and you're only holding large caps. It's not going to happen unless your strategy is a 20-year strategy, 10-year strategy. You get my point. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long, long time. Where I know most people are like, hey, I just want to, I had a Telegram call yesterday. I won't say his name, but really smart dude, smart dude. And he said, AJ, I want to turn 125 grand into 250,000. I don't care. You know, I want to learn how to leverage trade, but that's not my focus. I want to turn my 125 grand into 250,000. And 40% of his portfolio was, guess what? It was XRP. And I said, hey man, look at the percentage gain for every coin to the right of your bag. Because he bought his XRP earlier, way earlier. His XRP said plus 405%. Every coin under that was plus 30%, plus 40%, minus 5%, plus 10%, plus 8%. You get my point. But because he was earlier in the XRP and he built his rest of the portfolio as he went, his XRP led the portfolio, lopsided the portfolio, and had 400% gains. And I'm saying, wait, so all you want to do, your goal, rate my portfolio goal is just to double up, but your portfolio is heavily lopsided into a coin that already made you 400%? Get out of there. Get out of there. Like, do whatever you want. Like, not financial advice, but like, you need to not have a lopsided portfolio. And like, if you think that everyone else made 400% too, right? You don't think that like it's at least getting close to being oversold? If it's not already oversold, you don't think it's close? At least this time around? Like, I don't know, man. I think you guys get my point. I think you guys get my point. And I go hard on this stuff because I want the groggers to make money. And making money from where I stand is not making 86% if Ethereum went to 7,000. That's not enough. And too many hundreds of billions of dollars have to get added to Ethereum's market cap to make 86%. And I know for most of you, 86% ain't going to fucking cut it. So I'm being real. Going to keep it real. We have a super chat from Dwarf Dennis, $5. Thanks for the $5. I do appreciate it. AJ, currently up a good amount on my H bar. Would you recommend converting some into VET? Do you see algo going back to $2 this run? Now, let's break this question down. A $2 Algorand this one run is asking for like a lot from here. We have to, as much as I would like to jump up and down and say, oh yeah, it's definitely going to $2. I'm not going to like lie to you guys. Like I never do. But like, do I think that, let's consider a couple things with Algorand. So I'll do the Algorand question first. So Algorand's at a point right now that's actually a little scary. Whereas you kind of pull this line across and you realize that it needs to, even if we go from, low to high on fib. Oh, wrong measuring. Not that. Not you. Where are you? Come here. So we go here. Okay. But as you can see, Algorand is technically still at around 618. Or if you measure from the body of the candle instead of the wick of the candle, it's in between 0.5 and 0.6 in Fibonacci. And what's scary about that is that Algorand has been rejected from the same level back here in March of 2024. The bright side is that from its current price to its December high is 106% just to get back to the December high. I think that it's likely, considering how large, we're talking daily chart stuff here, this was a really big, I mean, go back in the daily. When was the last time we had a momentum wave that went as high as that one? This one in December of 23. So let me just draw a little blue line here. So December 23 here. This was the last time we saw Algorand's momentum wave on the daily go as high as this one. And that kind of tells me that it is likely, at least for the right here, right now, we might have seen local top for the summer. I could eat my words on this. It could just continue like bullish, like it really could. But I do want people to be comfortable with the idea that this pump happened fast. And if you kind of see how this is what you don't want. All right. So let's just be honest about this. We're going to draw this line here. That's 27.14. So basically, if you see Algorand in the 26.9, 26.8, that's not good, because you could interpret this as a head and shoulder, like kind of measured move like that would probably put us like, right back in here, probably 22, 23 cents. And what I don't like on the 4 hour kind of anchor wave, trigger wave, smaller trigger wave, and the money flow is starting to decrease to the downside. Obviously it doesn't have to be the end of the world right here. And this thing honestly could just kind of live inside of this little range here between 32 and 27 cents forever for me. I mean, it's already been inside of this 20% range for 7 days. So we can establish the parameters of this conditional reaction that a break of this high, and we know the implications of a break of this high, local high in December, 61 cents. So basically, if Algorand goes above 32 or if Algorand goes below 27, that would be the main reaction for the right here, right now. I'm fine with not touching anything until this alarm goes off here or this alarm goes off here. React to the market. Don't guess. Moving forward, say in a situation, scenario one, we do retest. We come back through, we wiggle up, we wake up and have ourselves a November. There's a couple places where I kind of think would make a lot of sense for Algorand to go back to. All right. And a few of them, and this is what you have to understand about the history of Algorand and what has happened to the tokenomics since we saw, this insaneness back in 2021, that $2 Algorand. We have to understand how much more coins have been added to the supply from this price back here and this price over here, and how much the market cap has to work overtime to make up for the increase of the supply. So there's that aspect. And I did all the math on this. I don't remember the math off the top of my head, but I did all the math on this on my previous Algorand price prediction. But so what I'm saying is that this right here is no man's land. Right here. So $1 to $1.28 is a really big spot on the Algorand chart. Why? Because right here, floor, ceiling, support, resistance. Right here, very quick move down, which means there's a lack of volume. And then quick rejection. So what I mean is that historically, there's nothing in here. Okay? So, and this is where we've been rejected before. And that makes sense because look at where the floor was before, back here. So Algorand, and I mean Algorand, has to get above 63 cents to even have a remote conversation of if $1.50, $1.20, or any of that's possible. This has to happen first. And I know that's obvious, but it's about it when you're talking about the projection. You have to be realistic about it. And if I'm going to talk what's possible up here, we actually have to prove if we can get here first. What I'm saying is that if Algorand can get above 62, it can go to $1. If it can get past $1, it can go to $1.30. If it can get past $1.30, it can go to $1.83. At that point, things are just getting ridiculous. But at the same time, I would say that a $1 Algorand, anything less than $1 for me is an absolute motherfucking failure. If Algorand doesn't go to $1. Worried about it, period. It has to go to $1. It has to. It has to. And that's not me wishful thinking. That's me like, I want to see this company continue for a couple more decades or for 100 years or whatever. And for it to do that, it has to continue. And what I'm saying here is also, if you look at the uptrends, and this is hopeful for me, look at this yellow uptrend. I know it's far down my screen. Hold on. If you look at this yellow uptrend here. Wait, hold on. Let me change the color 1 second. All right. So you look at this yellow uptrend, you'll see that from once it started waking back up in December of 23, higher, first high, higher high, higher high, and this being the high back in December was something that I mentioned because it touched this trend line. I said this to you guys. Hey, it touched this trend line. That might be it. I have to go back and find the clip, but I did talk about it touching this trend line. So what I'm saying is that if this is kind of like represents the ceiling, you know, it would have to be, and this right here is the intersection of the $1 line and the top of this trend line. And when is that? December 30th this year. So this is the $1 trend line intersecting with the higher high line that it's been rejected from not once, not twice, but 3 times. It is possible, based off this trend line, for Algorand to hit $1 in 2025, based off those 2 concepts. And it's just hitting that dollar. It's just hitting that dollar. Algorand gets better if the bull run lengthens into 2026, which is an argument you can make given the administration giving the doors opening for institutions. If there was ever an argument in the history of crypto that we're going to see a lengthened cycle, it's this cycle. It's this cycle could go longer than any of the other ones based off the macro around it. We haven't had any interest slashes yet. We've been putting in new all-time highs for Bitcoin, new all-times for XRPs in a year where Jerome Powell sat on his ass and pressed pause every time. Imagine what's going to happen to crypto once we start getting slashes. And we get ETFs at the same time. You see my point? So, yes, it's possible for Algorand to hit $1 this year. Although it is possible for Algorand to hit $1 this year, my average Algorand buy is around 20, and in some of my bags 22 cents. I would be okay to walk somewhere between 80 cents. Yeah, I'd say somewhere between 80 cents and $1. Somewhere between 80 cents and $1, I'd be willing to walk. And even if it goes to $5, that doesn't mean shit to me because I achieved my goal. If you sell too early, but you achieved your goal, okay, you achieved your goal. It just also is a testament to don't have an all-in, all-out strategy. Sell 70% of your bag here, and then if it goes to $5, well, the other 30% of your bag can still go that far. But at least take the bulk of your profits at the place where your goal is. All right. So I think it is very possible for Algorand to hit $1 this year. Is it going to happen? Obviously, honestly, I can't see the future. But I will say, based off of this, that Algorand, without a shadow of the doubt, in the next altcoin bull run, will go past the December high of 62 cents. That is 100% going to happen. But it has everything to do with the historical support resistance levels. Because if this is possible, this is possible. And if this is possible, etc. It does have to do with volume. You know, that matters too. So that is my answer to that question. And so do I see Algorand going back to $2 this run? Probably not. Probably not. No, I don't. No, that's too much. I mean, not impossible, but I'm leaning towards no. Like I said, $1 to $1.30 would be really strong. I mean, I think people get me messed up when I say no to things, because no is kind of like my gut. Like I'm not saying it's impossible. That I think that's a really important point to drive home, because when we talking about, you know, Ethereum adding hundreds of millions of dollars to its market cap, right? Like, well, it wouldn't really take that much for Algo to do. I mean, let's say if we wanted Algorand to go to $2, it would only require a $17.4 billion market cap. And when you look at it that way, it's not that crazy. It's not crazy at all to think that Algorand could go to $20 billion. That's not an absurd thought. You know what I mean? But from the TA perspective of like the trend lines where it has respected and the previous places we've been rejected before, $1 to $1.30 makes more sense. But when you just from a trend line perspective, but from a market cap perspective, considering it has pretty fair tokenomics at this point, it would only require a $17.4 billion market cap. And what's more likely, Algorand to go from 2.6 billion to 17.4? I mean, that only require basically $15 billion. What's more likely, Algorand adding $15 billion or XRP adding $200 billion? Once again, my point that I rest my hat on that point. So to answer your question, I'm gonna do the giveaway and hit the road pretty soon here. We'll be live streaming tomorrow for any things I missed. I did miss the charts for Suede Avalanche, and SEI. We'll do those tomorrow because this show went way too fast. These hours just fly by on me. But to answer your question about Hedera and VeChain, so VeChain is currently sitting at a $2.4 billion market cap. Hedera is currently sitting at an $11.5 billion market cap. So basically, you have to ask yourself this question. This is the question. For Hedera to double up, it needs $11.5 billion. And for VeChain to double up, it needs $2.4 billion. So is HBAR going to outperform VeChain in a ratio of inflow ratio of 11.5 divided by 2.4? That's the question. That's a risk analysis. That's a risk that you have to ask yourself. My answer is diversification always wins. Someone literally asked me the question, oh, if you had to hold Ondo and Jasmy and Algo and VeChain and you could only pick one, like what would you pick? Well, I'm like, well, the point is to be diversified. And I have never chose one over the other when it comes down to HBAR or Ondo or Algo or VeChain or whatever. I mean, I can show you my public portfolio and I can show you what has outperformed what since I bought it. And this public portfolio is actually starting to get pretty ridiculous. I'm going to do a cover of it here pretty soon. But the last time I showed you guys this, it was 600 grand. Now it's 705. We're cruising. We're cruising. We made 16 G's today. And Algorand was the previous leader of this portfolio. Ondo has caught up. Ondo has made itself the leader of this portfolio. And then we have VeChain, HBAR, Jasmy, Arbitrum, Ape, Sweet, Injective, Cardano, Avalanche, Virtuals, Render, Doge, The Graph, Shiba, and everything under that. So yeah, there's that. But like I said, all these were all very close to each other at one point. I definitely got HBAR a little bit later. And the top three was the inception of this portfolio, and then the rest kind of built itself. I've built every public portfolio I've ever built a little bit differently. And I have built each public portfolio I built a little differently because I don't want to do the same strategy every single time. And that's why I kind of did HBAR later, which kicked me in the ass, especially with this portfolio, because I should have done HBAR when I did everything else. But I didn't want to do another video where I start a new portfolio with the same 4 coins that I started the last portfolio with. So there is a point where you guys have to understand that this is also content. This is not like a perfect thing, but something I'm doing to show people what a $1 million portfolio looks like. This is how I did it. You know what I mean? So like understand that like there is no one single meta perfect strategy. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, dude. Like you could do it so many different ways. This is one of them. And I think so many people in Get Crypto get so caught up on making the perfect play that they miss the right down the middle play. And the right down the middle play is what most people need to do. Like you're not going to pick the perfect 4 coins. It's not going to happen. No one can see the future. No one can. It's impossible. And some influencers act like they can see the future. Well, guess what? They're fucking lying to you. They are lying to you. I would rather say, hey, I can't see the future, but I can react to this happening or this happening. And that's how I've made my money, not by guessing, but reacting. So use that instead of like, well, this guy said it's going to this price. Well, that guy just pulled that number out of his ass. You know what I mean? So it's, be pragmatic. Be pragmatic. All right. One day at a time, one day at a time. Algorand will crush this cycle. I am with y'all there. All right, so I want to do this giveaway and we're going to call it a day really quickly. I'm going to click refresh. We got 84 likes. Would love to see it get to 100. Would really appreciate that. Got over 114 people watching on YouTube. Thanks for guys being here. Make sure you smash the like button. We're going to do a giveaway here, right now. Also, guys, make sure you get on over, click on the sweep widget link pinned to the top of my page on Twitter. Get yourself in this Tesla giveaway. There's only almost 3,100 people in this giveaway. That's not that crazy, guys. That's not that crazy. Very winnable giveaway. Also, thank you to the sponsor of this channel, Decrypted Tax. I didn't realize I wasn't showing my screen. Decrypted Tax, guys, if you have not done your crypto taxes yet, do your damn crypto taxes. You don't want to be on the wrong side of the coin with Uncle Sam. Most crypto people extend to October. So if you extended to October and you're not sure what you're doing, set up a free consultation with my friend Ernest at Decrypted.tax. We just did a show about last week talking about misconceptions and what you can write off, what you can't write off. Check out that interview if you're interested. I think a lot of people don't do their crypto taxes correctly, and it actually kind of scares the shit out of me because I've seen what can happen if you're on the wrong side of Uncle Sam. So make sure you set up a call at Decrypted.tax. Also, Suede AI. I grew up as a touring musician. I love music, and I hate the music industry because the music industry is basically run by leeches that squeeze as much juice out of each fruit as they can, and they throw it in the trash and move to the next one. And it's just money to them, and it has not has to do with the people involved and the creative talent involved. And this crypto company, win or lose with the coin here, is designed to help eliminate the middlemen from the music industry to give the power back to the artist. You can create your own record label with one click. You can create a song with a single AI prompt. And I think that this type of integration, if it takes hold, could be something that slowly but surely pulls the music industry out of the fingers of the leeches that control it. This had everything to do with me partnering with this project, had everything to do with my ethos of believing in decentralization and believing in we don't need middlemen to steal 5% from us every time we do anything, especially in the music industry where I hold my heart very dearly. So guys, check out this project. I think it has a real chance because so many people feel this way about how effed up the music industry is. And we are going to do a follow-up video with these guys here pretty soon. And if you want to see the first interview I did with Jonathan from this company, make sure you check that out. Also, guys, of course, head over to Bitunix, best place to build a crypto portfolio. Click the link, top link in my description down there. And what I like about Bitunix is like, okay, instead of having to write down the average buy cost of every coin you buy, it literally will do that math for you instead of having to bust out a calculator and a piece of pen and paper and write it down and write the average out every time you buy anything at any price. It's so much of a headache to manually keep up on a crypto portfolio, whereas you could use an exchange like Bitunix, no VPN, no KYC, that measures your account earnings, measures your ROI, gives you your average cost. It makes portfolio building so much easier. And not to mention, it's probably the best place to leverage trade right now, considering how many coins have so many millions of dollars in volume, hundreds of millions of dollars in volume. And yeah, I absolutely love Bitunix, and the people there are really good to me, and they have a badass exchange, and it has become one of the best exchanges in crypto. I'm not alone here. Altcoin Daily runs with Bitunix. CryptoFace have done stuff with Bitunix. A lot of amazing people in crypto are also with this exchange. Crypto R Us, George, is with this one as well. He's actually the one that got me this deal, so big thank you to him, and because they're doing a really good job. So no VPN, no KYC. I love saying those two terms out loud. So let's finish out this show, guys. Tesla Model 3 giveaway. Someone's going to win $42,000. It's actually $42,490. One person is going to drive away in a car or win that amount of money. $1,500 in vet, bunch of merch. Go click the pinned tweet at the top of my Twitter. Get yourself in that giveaway. Also, I said somebody click the like button here because I'm giving away $250 right now. I'm going to copy this, copy the tweet. So I hope you guys took my advice. So tweet URL, Twitter picker, paste, winner count 1. You must follow Ajwritescrypto, comma. Oh, that was enter. Minimum tweet count 100, account older than 1 month, minimum followers, let's say 20. and your latest tweet in the past month. So as long as actually minimum tweet count 50. You had to tweet 50 times. You have to be basically, you can't have made an account yesterday and do this. You have to actually like be a real person, because this stuff is just to get the bots out. And I respect that. I hate people that do that shit. And if I click pick winner and the winner is a bot, we're gonna do this again tomorrow, just so you know. So pick a winner. Here we go. Searching. Big bucks, no whammy. Big bucks, no whammy. Jackie Thompson at Jackie Girhon. I'm gonna screenshot that. Oh, I did not screenshot that correctly at all. The winner is that guy. Click save to photos. Boom. And there we go. I hope that's someone in the chat. Would love to see that. There you go. There's the show. That person just won $250. Big thanks to Ajwritescrypto. You guys are awesome. One day at a time. Guys, don't get caught up chasing pumps. If you miss a pump, I want you to think to yourself, okay, well, what didn't pump? Stop looking at crypto as if you're always a step behind. Get creative. So if Solana goes from 160 to 190, don't go, oh, I need to go buy Solana at 190. Don't be that guy. Don't be a fucking bing bong. Be the guy that says, okay, well, Solana pumped. That just went 30%. What has not gone 30%? What is fighting at, the 618 or the 786? What's still under support resistance from the high last week? Like, what can I do? I think the problem is that a lot of people don't want to fucking do the work. There is no life hack. There is no shortcut. The shortcut is to work harder than everyone else around you. The life hack is to dedicate your life to a single cause and to work harder than anyone else. That's the hack. Try harder. You can't just rely on one person to tell you everything. Like, I'm all for helping as many people as I can, guys. I've given away thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm giving away 4 Teslas this year, and the last one's a Cybertruck. I'm here to help people. I've made my money. Still working on it, but you get my point. I want to help as many people as I can. But at the same time, I absolutely cannot stand when people ask me questions they could have Googled. What's an RSI, AJ? Why don't you ask me a real question? Don't ask me a question that you could have done 3 seconds of research on. And this isn't like bashing anyone, and there's no such thing as a stupid question. Yeah, there is, but you get my point. And my point is that if you have an opportunity to learn something, do your homework first. Put the work in first. Don't ask anyone a question you could Google. Ask a question that is experience-based. How do you manage a scenario like this? If this happens on the RSI and the price did this, what's the next step? Those are the types of questions you want to ask. Don't be behind the 8 ball. Focus on this stuff. Study crypto like you'd study for a college exam. And when you get to that point, you're going to look back and say, oh shit, I get it now. The light bulb starts to go off, and that's when you start systematically making money day in and day out and day in and day out. And guys, last week was my best week ever in my life. Last week, my best week I've ever had in my life. Last week. I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know I could do that. I had no idea. I had no clue. I was BitBoy's writer, dude. I would get paid $600 a week. And during that week, I'd probably write 4 or 5 videos. And each one of those videos, he made $40,000 for every video I typed. Isn't that some bullshit? And then I told myself, I need to be on the other side of this hustle. Somehow, some way. I need to be on the other side of this hustle. And here we are. Doing Ajwritescrypto. But I want to say this because I think some people don't understand that my hustle is not just trading. It's YouTube and trading and sponsors and Telegram and ads and a bunch of stuff. You have to try to set it up so you have multiple streams of passive income. And then you kind of just do what you're required to do when you're on autopilot. That's great. But I think people get kind of stuck because like they only have 20 grand and they can only trade. And I'm like, okay, we can work with that, but you need to sit the fuck down. You need to calm your ass down. Like, you can't, if you only have 20 grand to your name, you should not be in a $20,000 trade every time you get into a trade. And the problem is that the discipline factor. And most traders will never have the proper discipline to get to a point where they are good traders. They lose all their money and quit before they get there. So guys, don't be so damn impulsive. What I've been building here, the millions I've made, has taken me years. It does not happen overnight. It does not happen in a single impulsive trade with all of my portfolio in that trade. That's not how it works. It's a pattern of decision making. It's not one blackjack hand. It's not one hand of Texas Hold'em. It's the accumulation of results of thousands of hands, of thousands of decisions, thousands of trades logged based off of 10,000 hours of research. Start your journey today. A masterpiece starts with a single stroke. But if you get impatient, I promise you, you will lose. You will lose. Get rich or get wrecked.